All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel. I wanted to talk some transfers and Premier League football before the second half of the season really gets started. Um, Obviously, Chelsea played today, first game of the second half of the season after the transfer window has closed. But we got Waleed back on. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you're feeling good about the Chelsea transfers, all the money that you spent.
I don't know. I would feel good if I knew half of the players we bought, but some of them well, after watching the Fulham game, I'm quite happy about them. Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk. I mean, even though Mudryk didn't play well against Fulham today, but when he came on against briefly against Liverpool, he played really well. So happy about them too. There are a few others that played quite well today. I think I don't know how to pronounce the name, but Mudueke, uh, Bafana was okay. So yeah, I'm quite happy about them, and it brings more competition to the team because quite a lot of players were underperforming. So happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, we could start like obviously they bought a lot of players before the season started as well, like Wesley Fofana,
Mhm.
Raheem Sterling, Koulibaly, Cucurella. Like, what I think we talked a couple of months earlier, but what was your like expectations for this year, even before like all the January signings?
Yeah, I think when we spoke last, Chelsea weren't doing too badly. They were somewhere in the top six, but now obviously they're 10th. So yeah, obviously the signings didn't go too well, but I don't think it's just because of the signings. It's the team as a whole in the sense that there's no players available. Now they're slowly coming back, but for the past few months, everyone's been injured. Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Kante has been injured since the start. Sterling was injured. Koulibaly, Ziyech, they're all back now, obviously. But for a long time, you can make a whole like starting 11 with the injured people.
Yeah, now you basically have like almost probably three starting 11s almost. I think there's like 35
Yeah,
players or something.
yeah. There's quite a lot. I was reading an article today. I think they chose the squad for the Champions League, and they had to leave out Aubameyang and the new centre back Badia Shiel, even though he's recently been performing well, and obviously he's been starting Premier League games, so it's a bit of a surprise that he's been left out. Um, but yeah, I think it's just going to take a little while to click because everyone's slowly getting back from injuries and there's loads of new players. There's no chemistry between anyone. So hopefully towards the end of the season we start performing well and we start performing well in time for the Champions League matches in approximately I think 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean after spending like six, 700 million, it's kind of easy to say like, oh, they should be, in the top four, or they should, at least in the second half of the points, like second half points table, I guess. Like you should be in the top three, I guess. But like I feel like most of these players are actually pretty young and unproven. Obviously, like Enzo Fernandez was one of the, I think he won best young player at the World Cup, and Mudryk has a lot of hype, but he only played one season in Shakhtar. I think who else is there? I mean, even Enzo, he only played 6 months at Benfica before that he was in Argentina. So I feel like they spent a lot of money on players that they have a lot of hype, but they're not necessarily like world class right now.
Yeah, like everyone's saying that we're spending loads and loads of money, but it's not necessarily on players worth that money. So you would expect if you're spending 100 mil to like 100 million, you'd be getting someone on the level of I don't know, like you would get Ronaldo back in the day, and like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
15 years ago. But nowadays, that gets you obviously Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk with his add-ons, and these are obviously unproven players. Um, and yeah, like where we haven't got any proven names. Enzo Fernandez before the World Cup, I don't think many people had heard of his name, and definitely Mudryk as well. He wasn't known that much before Arsenal's interest. Um, and yeah, even Wesley Fofana. I mean, he was known because he plays in the Premier League, but I don't. He's definitely not worth. I think what was it, 75 million that we paid for him. So it's a lot of money to pay for these players who don't have big names, but obviously it's not a problem for the owner, and it's not a problem for financial fair play either because of the way they're finding like the loophole. giving them extremely long contracts, 7, 8 years, so that they can split the costs over the years.
Yeah, I think Arsenal did that with Pepe as well as like a 4 year deal for 72 million, which was obviously spread over whatever 18 million or whatever per year. But I feel like Chelsea, like what is your expectations now for this team? I mean, obviously you want to get at least, a couple of rounds in the Champions League, but I mean, I feel like top four is almost out of the question right now. You're like 9 points behind fourth place Manchester United, and they have a game in hand right now, obviously, because you guys already played.
Yeah, I mean, for this season, my hopes are I still believe that we can make top four. It might be a bit ambitious, but I still feel it's possible. I think obviously Arsenal and Man City are confirmed top spot, the top two spots. Most likely Arsenal are going to win the league. You must be happy about that. Um, and then Man United, most obvious, I think it seems like they're probably going to get third. And then fourth place is there's going to be a bit of fight for that because at the moment Tottenham aren't doing that well. There's Newcastle who are doing really well, but obviously Newcastle they don't have much experience. So I feel like now that it's coming to the second half of the season, I feel like they will drop off. I think Fulham are like seventh or eighth. Liverpool aren't doing too well. There's Brighton as well. So there's not too much I mean, there's a lot of competition, but everyone's performing inconsistently, or the teams that are performing consistently, they are the small teams. So I don't think they'll have the experience to continue that form. So I feel like Chelsea still have an opportunity to get top four if they start to click. And when it comes to Champions League, for the past few seasons, Chelsea have been performing really well with Champions League. Obviously, they won it 2 years ago, and last season they could have gone through against Real Madrid, who were the eventual winners. But obviously, they had an incredible comeback. I mean, Chelsea came back first, and then they had another comeback themselves. So I feel like Chelsea did play well. So we always do turn up in the Champions League. So I think there is always a chance of the Champions League because obviously it's not a league table; it's just knockout. So it just depends on your luck, I guess.
Yeah, they got Dortmund in like 10 days. Like, are you feeling more confident now? Obviously, all those January transfers that probably help you. I think they could only sign you, like you said, they could only get Enzo, Mudryk, and Felix, right?
Yeah, that's a big help. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really excited about the new sign. Well, I'm actually more excited about some players coming back from injury, like especially Reece James, because the difference between Reece James and Azpilicueta is massive. Like Azpilicueta, he used to be obviously really good, but he's too old now. He's a bit slow. He's not that mobile. So Reece James being there makes a massive difference. And obviously you can tell the difference in play when he does play. So I feel like that will make it much better for Chelsea. The play is more fluid. Um, he's way more attacking. Obviously, he provides a better attacking threat. And then yeah, the new signings, João Felix. We saw him for like 45 minutes against Fulham what was it, like last month or something.
Yeah, he
So
got
he
a red
performed
card.
really well. Yeah. So he performed really well. And yeah, obviously Mudryk's there as well in the same position. So I feel like we should do well against Dortmund. I hope because Dortmund they're not as good as they used to be. They're still a strong side, but not as good as they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely missing Holland this year. That's a big loss to, keep playing through. But I mean, I'm interested in hearing what is your like preferred 11. Obviously, like Conte's going to come back. Who else is going to come back? Chilwell maybe. He played a little bit today as well. Reece James only played like what 60 minutes today, I think. Like they're still like integrating players in as well as their signings. I feel like it's gonna take a while to get just the chemistry down.
Yeah, that's a difficult one in terms of a starting 11. Formation, I would probably go for 4-2-3-1. In goalkeeper, I would if we're talking if we're saying that all players are available and no injuries, probably Mendy in goal. Even then, when he was available, he wasn't performing that well recently this season. But I would still say Mendy because even now Kepa still has mistakes in him, even though he makes some really good saves like he did today, but he still has a lot of mistakes. So I would say Mendy at the back. I mean, yeah, in goal, sorry. Thiago Silva, obviously, starting centre back. He's probably the best defender Chelsea have.
It's crazy that like he
Um,
might be your best player this season and he's like what 37 or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Like he's 37, 38, and he's still performing so well. It's just experience obviously plays a massive role in it. Speed doesn't matter that much, I guess. But yeah, he's performing really well. He covers for the other players. So yeah, him. And then I think I haven't seen much of him obviously because there's only been a few games, but I would say Badia Shiel next to him because Koulibaly, the games that he has played, he hasn't performed well at all. And obviously Graham Potter has realized that that's why he's stuck on the bench. Um,
It sucks that I don't think he's available for Champions League, right? I think they
who
had to leave him out
Koulibaly?
of no
Oh, sorry,
Badiashile.
Badia Shiel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm not sure if he was left out of the squad or if he was forcibly removed from the squad because he's not available to play in the Champions League. But whatever the decision is, obviously it's a bit harsh on him. But yeah, he would be my starting. Trevor Chalobah, he's been an up and coming talent for a long time, but obviously it doesn't seem like he's that good, if I'm being honest. And then right back, obviously, I think everyone agrees on that. It's Reece James. Left back, I would say Ben Chilwell. There's Mark Cucurella. Oh yeah, that's another signing. 60 million on him. And he definitely isn't worth 60 million. I'm not sure why they signed him for so much. Like he played for Graham Potter at Brighton, but even then, he's not a preferred player for Graham Potter because he was starting Lewis Hall over him, and he's a youngster. So I would say Ben Chilwell. I think he's been missed as well because of his injury. Now this is the interesting part, the midfield. Um, so I think midfield, if all our players are available, we do have strong selections. Obviously, you have Kante, you have Fernandez now, Enzo Fernandez. You have Zakaria, who's quite good, in my opinion. You also have Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek.
It's
So it would
crazy.
be quite difficult. Yeah,
So many guys
it's crazy
injured.
how many players we have. Yeah. So yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, we have a lot of players injured because a lot of these players haven't been playing. Like Kovacic, he's a massive miss in the midfield. Um, but for now, I would say Kovacic and Kante, if everyone's fit and available. Only reason I'm not saying Enzo Fernandez is because we haven't seen enough of him. But I do think he played really well today. So yeah, so I'd say Kovacic and Kante, and then the
I
front
feel like
four.
he would play better with Conte as well. Like he kind of had to play defensive a little bit. He had to play a little bit cautious because he has Gallagher next to him. So I don't think Gallagher's doing much defensive work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Gallagher's known for having a massive engine. He's got loads of stamina, but I don't think he's that disciplined. He's always getting yellow cards. He's always fouling people. So his positioning isn't great. So I think he had to cover for him. But yeah, I think Enzo Fernandez is good in that, in the sense that he can sit back and break up play. So like a Casemiro type of player. I'm not saying he's as good as Casemiro, but like that kind of player. So him and Kante, I think, would work well together because Kante loves running up and down. So he would be good at carrying the ball. So yeah, I think Enzo Fernandez and Kante, or Enzo Fernandez and Kovacic, both would be a good combination. So that would be good. And then the front four. Uh, That's quite difficult because we have so many players. It's hard to remember who's available. Um,
Broja's injured too, right? Obviously, Aubameyang is on the bench, but Broja's injured, right?
yeah, he's injured. Um,
Because I feel like Havertz at striker is not the best. Hasn't been the best.
I mean, ever since Havertz signed, he definitely hasn't proven his worth. And all Chelsea fans, I'm not sure why a lot of them love him, but I just don't like him at all. I don't see what he offers. Every time he gets one-on-one with the keeper, I barely ever see him score. He only scores headers and tap-ins.
Except for
He
that
barely ever
Champions League
scores.
final. You couldn't thank him for that.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why Chelsea fans love him because he scored the winning Champions League goal. But other than that, I literally don't see what he offers. Like today, he should have scored that one-on-one, but he didn't. That was quite simple in my opinion. So I would love to leave him out, but Aubameyang isn't that great himself. Um, I guess Broja, yeah, Broja up front. Um,
Or Felix, I guess. Or would you rather see him in the 10?
yeah, but I think Felix is. he could play up front, but he's better. Yeah, he's better suited playing as a number 10 or a left winger, so that he can run at defenders. Put some fear into them, dribble past a couple of players, and play make. So yeah, I feel like Mudryk on the left, Felix in the number 10 role, Broja up front, and then right wing. That's where there's the issue. So with right wing, Ziyech, I don't.
It's pretty much, I guess,
Yeah,
between
Ziyech, she's
Ziyech or
just
Sterling, right?
yeah, but even Sterling, he tends to play on the left, and so he doesn't tend to play much on the right. And Ziyech, the problem with him is he just doesn't have any pace. He has creativity, but all he does is he cuts in and then crosses to the back post, and you know what
Yeah.
he's going to do. He never like cuts in, shoots, or dribbles past players. So he never uses a right foot either. So he's quite one dimensional in that sense. So I saw I think it was Mudieki. I keep forgetting. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
Yeah,
the
what's the
new
name?
Chelsea
Nani?
signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll just call him Noni. Yeah, Noni, Noni. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he started off on the left wing, and then Sterling I think came on. So then Sterling went to the left, and then Noni went to the right. And when he went to the right, I feel like he was playing well because he is left-footed, so he can cut in, and he's quite direct, as in he dribbles past players. So I think he would be a good option. So yeah, if I was being brave, I would start that starting 11 because if you do start that starting 11, there's no chemistry at the moment. But if you just imagine they will have chemistry, I can imagine that being a really good starting lineup, just like man for man. Every player is good individually.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's obviously the optimistic lineup or optimal lineup. I don't know how many times we'll actually see that this season.
Yeah, probably never.
Yeah, maybe if they, obviously everybody has to get healthy first of all, and then there's team selection, and then obviously, what was up with Ziyech, by the way? Like he was in Paris, like they were sending the transfer to PSG, right?
Yeah, yeah, I heard the reason his transfer didn't go through is because Chelsea were too busy signing other players that they made some mistakes sending over documents. Like I think they sent over the wrong document and then they forgot to sign a document. There were quite a few mistakes there on Chelsea's part, so he didn't end up getting his loan to PSG.
Yeah, because I think Fabrizio was pretty much saying it's a done deal, and then he's
Yeah,
obviously he started today. That's what I was surprised about that too.
yeah. I guess Graham Potter just wanted to instill some confidence in him so that he knows that he can still play if he wants. He doesn't need to be disheartened by his failed transfer.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a jerk move by Chelsea, though. It's like I know you're trying to get Enzo, but like at least just let the guy leave. Like you're gonna have to let like a lot of players leave in the summer as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's already started with Jorginho, so I think there's going to be a big summer clear out. I think all the players, I think the new summer signings that they bought, like Koulibaly, maybe Sterling. I think that I heard they were looking to offload Sterling as well. That's just rumors, obviously. So I think a lot of them will have to get sold because we have a massive influx of players, and there's just a massive overflow, especially of attacking players.
And Kunku's, I forgot about him. He's coming in the summer as well.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's one thing to be excited for next week because we're missing a striker and hopefully he provides that attacking threat.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I feel like Chelsea is like the past couple of years they've been signing like a bunch of creative players, but not a lot of like strikers, like pure strikers. They always find the guy that's like on FIFA that's listed as center forward, not striker.
Uh, I'm not sure. I think even we haven't been signing that many creative players either because, like, for example, we signed Sterling. I wouldn't say he's creative. He is a winger, but he isn't that creative. He just throws some box crosses into the box. Uh, Creative players, I would say, are people like De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, Odegaard, those kind of people, but there aren't many of them anyway these days, so it's quite difficult to find. But yeah, in terms of strikers, we did sign obviously Romelu Lukaku.
Hmm.
Didn't obviously turn out that good, but he's on loan. He might come back next season
Is it?
scoring. We never know.
Yeah, we'll
So
see.
yeah, But even in Nkunku, I heard he isn't an out and out striker. I think he plays sort of centre forward, left wing. I'm not sure though. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess we'll see if he's as good as he is in the Bundesliga.
yeah, I know last year he was getting a lot of assists and like so like he's he's not like a pure like out and out striker like maybe like Nketiah or something like that or even Lukaku or even Aubameyang uh, like is there a reason why you think like these guys like just like don't hit the ground running? Is there not enough like do they not get enough passes or do they just not clinical enough?
Hmm. I feel like there's definitely not enough creativity. They're not receiving enough chances because if you look at our players, we have Mount, who I mean he's good, but he's very inconsistent. And when he is good, he's good at scoring goals, but I don't think he's good at creating chances. Um, yeah, he's definitely good in terms of defensively, but yeah, he's not that great at creating chances. And the wingers that we have been playing recently in the past year, or like even last season, we haven't had quite like that many chance creators for a long time since I think Hazard left. Because Hazard was like responsible for creating most of the chances. So since he left, we haven't created many chances, and that's obviously showing because the strikers aren't getting many chances.
Yeah. Like when you watch Arsenal or even like Man City, they're always passing it around the box. Like you don't really see that with Chelsea. It's either like direct or bust.
Yeah, with Chelsea, it's always the centre midfielders are passing it to the right back or the left back, and it goes back, and it just keeps going back and forth. And then there'll be one lucky cross, and someone headers it in, but you won't see someone slipping it in like a nice pass, splitting the defense.
Yeah. I mean, you expecting top four? I mean, like you said it, you're expecting top four, but yeah, are you actually like, is that like a optimistic 100%? Like everything goes well, then you get top four?
I'm not expecting top four. I'm saying it's possible. I won't be surprised if we do get top four, but I won't be surprised if we don't either. Like I'm optimistic. I feel like yeah, if all things go well in terms of the signings start to click together and our injury list reduces. I think injury list reducing is a massive thing because the players who are injured, obviously, they're very important and they have experience playing for Chelsea and they know like how to play with the rest of the team. The new signings, obviously, that it's going to take a while for them to gel with the team. So yeah, it obviously depends on the situation, but realistically, I think we should aim for at least six, but hoping for top four.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the only way obviously to get in the Champions League is obviously either top four or actually winning the Champions League. But I don't know if you expect to win with this squad to actually win the Champions League.
I mean, you never know with Chelsea. The two times they have won it, no one ever expected them to win either of the seasons, and they won it. So yeah, I won't put it past Chelsea winning it. Never rule them out.
All right, we can move on maybe like to the top other teams, obviously going for that top four. They always Arsenal, City already have like a big advantage on everybody, obviously. But obviously Arsenal got Jorginho. What did you think of that signing? Obviously you had to let somebody go.
Yeah, I guess it was the right time to let Jorginho go because he is, I think, 31 now, and he's always been slow, so he's only going to get slower. And at Chelsea, it didn't seem like he always seemed to perform badly against big teams. Whenever it came to big teams, he performed badly. He only played well against small teams. So I think it was a good move from Chelsea letting him go, especially because we have bought new midfielders. So it was good letting him go. I guess the price, 12 million, it does make sense. He is 31. I wouldn't say he's amazing. In terms of for Arsenal, I think he's more of a backup. I think obviously you would know better, Arsenal fans would know better, but I don't think he's going to be starting, maybe starting Europa League games because he has that experience and Arsenal obviously need the depth. So I think, yeah, he's definitely a good squad player. So yeah, he'll definitely come in use for Arsenal because he's good at controlling the games and, finding passes over the top. So I think he'll be good for Arsenal because they do love playing passing games.
Yeah, I think he would be a good guy to bring on for maybe like the last 20 minutes or something like that, just to keep the ball moving, just to keep the defense like on its heels, I guess, keep them back. Like if Arsenal like they've been dominating possession, so like he doesn't really have to worry about maybe. I mean, I guess you have to worry about counterattack, but you don't really. If you're just passing the ball out from like the top of the box, you're not really that worried about him.
Yeah, that's one of his weaknesses actually. He's whenever it comes to counterattacks, he can't stop them because he's too slow. The only thing he can do is foul them and give away a yellow card, but he can never break up counterattack. So I think that's one of his weaknesses that Arsenal might find annoying. But yeah, he is definitely someone good to bring on towards the end of the game if you're winning, because then he can just help control the game and keep the ball away from the opponents.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal have a decent amount of like good athletes around him, like obviously Saliba and Gabriel and Party. I feel like the most obvious sub would be him for Shaka sometimes, just because
Yeah.
the passing range maybe, but maybe for Party as well. But but yeah, I mean I feel like obviously he'll never be alone in that, double pivot with either Shaka or Party. Because El Neni's injured and then they sent Lukonga on loan, so there's not really much depth in that midfield spot right now. So I mean, he's better than nothing. I think. Obviously, Arsenal wanted Caicedo, but I think Brighton just. I don't know if they're going for Europa League or what, but they just didn't want to sell this window.
Yeah, because Arsenal did bid quite a lot for him, but they just weren't letting him go. I think they were tired of selling their players, and even though Brighton are performing well after selling so many players and getting rid of their manager, I guess they didn't want to sell him. But yeah, for Arsenal, I think Jorginho will probably be like third from their midfielders. So obviously you have Thomas Partey and you have Xhaka. I think he will start before El Neni, even if El Neni is fit. I do think he's better than El Neni.
Yeah,
And I guess Arteta, he is known for bringing out the best in players for since he joined Arsenal. So I think he will be good at, bringing out the best of Jorginho.
yeah. I mean, I think Trossard was a decent signing. I feel like that was the thing with maybe Mudryk. Obviously, I think every Arsenal fan wanted Mudryk. They were making compilations like every day of him signing for Arsenal. But like somehow, like I think Trossard might be a better signing just for like the rest of this season, just because he's already proven in the Premier League. He's already scored goals, for Brighton this season. Like he might just be like a little bit safer option just for the next like 6 months.
Yeah, I'm surprised to be honest because Trossard, he's a really good player and he's been playing good for Brighton. I'm surprised at how cheap Arsenal got him for. What was it? I think 27 million pounds. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
if you
think he had
can.
like a falling out with the manager or something because I think they were starting to play Matoma over him or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Mitoma has been playing well, to be fair, but yeah, Trossard is a very good signing, especially considering he is Premier League proven and he was cheap. So even if he doesn't perform well, it's not the end of the world because they didn't fork out, like 50 million pounds for him. They only spent half of that, so that's good for Arsenal. Good signing.
Yeah, I mean honestly, like we probably have the best, I mean best performing starting at 11 in the league right now. So I don't know, I feel like it might be smart not to like mess with it too much.
Yeah, definitely player for player. I think Man City's is a lot better, but obviously as a team, Arsenal so far this season are performing very well. Like even after Jesus getting injured, you would think that Arsenal would have dropped off, but Nketiah's, I don't know, I think he scored like 7, 8, 9 goals, something ridiculous in the last 10 games. So he's performing really well, and I guess he's going to keep Jesus out of the team as well when he comes back. Who knows? So all of the Arsenal players are performing well.
Yeah, not a bad problem to have.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
finally have some squad depth with Smith Rowe and maybe Jesus coming off the bench now, and then obviously Trossard and uh Jorginho. But yeah, I was surprised that City let Cancelo go. Obviously, I think he had some argument with the manager, but it feels like there's something not right with this City team right now. Even De Bruyne actually hasn't been playing like amazing up to his like, obviously, best player in the world tier category standards. Do you think like you think Arsenal will keep the momentum going and finish it off?
I think it's obviously it's too early to say because there are a lot of games left. I think there's like 17 games, I think. Um,
I think it's 19 actually. It's just like a full half season,
okay.
at least for
Yeah.
Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I still think there is a lot of time for Man City to catch up, but the way Arsenal are playing, I don't feel like they're going to drop off anytime soon. It's weird. Like every season that they have, been performing well in the last 10 years, they always seem to drop off at around Christmas, January time, but they haven't seemed to drop off yet. So I feel like they'll just keep going and win the title, I guess. You never know with City because City always have like, the amazing players that they have. So they can always make, like a 15 winning game streak and they could come back and like win the title from Arsenal. But at the moment, it seems like, in my opinion, Arsenal are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can ask any Liverpool fan. Like, the City always chase them down. I think Liverpool only won it once, right? And like they had all these great, amazing teams. They only won it one time, and it took like almost 100 points for them to win it. So it'll probably be a similar situation where Arsenal will have to get maybe 95 points to win the league.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad for Liverpool because I don't think there's been so many teams that have. I don't think there's been any team that's accumulated at least I think like 190 points over 2 seasons, but hasn't won the title in either of those seasons. And that's probably just because Man City got 2, 3 points more than them. So yeah, it's quite unlucky that Liverpool's team is coming at the same time as Man City's team. Because if they didn't exist, Man City at this time, then I think Liverpool would have easily won the past few leagues. But I'm glad they haven't because I don't know any Man City fans and I know quite a few Liverpool fans.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, like, yeah. Have you really like seen any Man City fans in at least in London like the last couple of years, or at least like
Mm.
growing up? Was there any Man City fans?
Growing up, I didn't know a single Man City fan. Even until now, I have never met a single Man City fan. I've met loads of Liverpool fans, obviously, but never a single Man City fan.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I feel like the
Yeah.
people that are Man City fans are probably the ones who got into football a little bit later.
Yeah, or it could be the people who have always been fans of Man City, like since, like if they're older people, like 30, 40 plus, if they're still fans right now. So, but there won't be people our age. I think there'll be younger people who are maybe like 15, 16 years old, but no one in their like, 20s or anything.
Yeah, I mean, one of my good friends is actually a Man City fan, but I don't. He probably didn't start watching, or he never picked a team until maybe 2012 or 13.
Okay, fair enough. So you just pick the best team.
I guess. Um, yeah. When did the money come in? I feel like obviously Chelsea's getting their money. They were one of the first teams to get their money in with Abramovich, and I feel like they break the points record in like 2005 or 2006 with like 91 or something like that.
Yeah, it was the first season that Mourinho came in, 2004, 2005. Mourinho got 95 points. At the time, it was the record. So yeah, they broke the record for most points. And also that season, they only conceded 15 goals. So that's still a standing record. No one's ever broken, and I don't think anyone's ever going to break that because to only concede 15 goals in 38 games, it's ridiculous. I don't think anyone will ever achieve that.
Yeah, put that in context right now. Newcastle is the number one, least goals conceded, and they've already conceded 11. And people say like their defense is like one of the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
And
Arsenal has
you don't
conceded
see them.
16 already.
Yeah, it's crazy because if they try to equal Chelsea's record, that means they'll have to only concede 4 goals in the next 19 games. And obviously, I don't think that's possible.
We'll see, man. You never know. Newcastle, Trippier leading the way.
Yeah, they've been doing really well.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like no, I mean, obviously people expected them to be, you know, signing, doing something similar to Chelsea right now, putting in a lot of money, but they haven't really put that much money besides maybe one striker, Isak, and then a couple center backs, and then, but like it hasn't been crazy money yet. Like maybe next year or 2 years from now, it could be crazy money, and then you never know what happens.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is really good because they are performing really well without like, splashing the cash, as they say, because they did spend a lot on that guy, Isaac, but I don't think he's even been one of the star performers. It's been, the other guys. So I think if they can secure at least Europa League, and then they they have the attraction of the Europa League and obviously the money, then they can slowly bring in like, better players. And then as time goes on, maybe get top four, and then who knows, they might be the new Man City in the next 5 years or something. But they did manage to recently sign Anthony Gordon from Everton. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember, but Chelsea were trying to sign him. I think it was last summer, or maybe the summer before. I can't remember. But Chelsea didn't manage to get him, even though Chelsea were going to bid something ridiculous like 70 million for him. But I think Newcastle managed to get for 40 something million. I'm not sure. So I don't even I'm not even sure how good of a player he is myself. But obviously, if they're spending that much, they're serious about what they want to achieve. And who knows, they might, yeah, as I said, they might turn into the new Man City in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean the signing that I'm still mad about, like from the last couple of years, is Bruno Guimaraes, and I think he was like 35 or 40 million, and they got him for that much, and he's been like one of the best midfielders in the league since he's come in. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for Everton. They're in the tank right now. They might get relegated.
Yeah, I mean, they sacked Frank Lampard. I guess he didn't perform too well. So now I think they appointed Sean Dyche, the old Burnley manager. So I think he's known for getting Burnley out of relegation. So I think that's why they signed. Who knows how long they'll perform? Yeah, Everton's been a weird team. They sometimes they get top four, and sometimes they come 10th. Sometimes they're fighting for relegation. You never know what's going to happen with them.
Do you know any Everton's fans growing up?
Yeah, I did. I just remember one or two off the top of my head, but barely. I think I just knew one or two.
Because historically, obviously, I think they're one of the bigger clubs, right?
Yeah, I think they're known alongside Arsenal to be one of the teams that have stayed in the top flight league for the longest, in terms of number of seasons played. So, yeah, in terms of history, they definitely have history, but recent history, they have none.
Yeah. Yeah, Benitez was kind of a failure there too, and then somehow Ancelotti was there, and he went from there to Real Madrid, so he got the biggest upgrade.
Yeah, that was really weird that he went from there to Real Madrid and then won the Champions League as well. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, my top four would be Arsenal, City. I think Newcastle will get fourth. I think United will probably get third. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with the top three. Yeah, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. And then fourth, obviously, is a difficult one to predict. Um, uh, I would say I think Tottenham might get top four.
It's crazy to
No,
say, right? I feel like they've had a terrible season, but they're only 3 points off of it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, they've been conceding a lot in terms of they always concede first in games and they come back later. So it's I don't know what's going on with them, but I feel like they will get top four.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's Chelsea, but I feel like it's going to be Tottenham.
The Conte experience, right? They never got the super highs of Conte though. That was the
Yeah,
that Chelsea got.
yeah, he was amazing for Chelsea, so I miss him. But I think, yeah, I mean, he's quite outspoken as well. He says that Tottenham aren't good enough to like make the top four or win the league. So it's weird the way like you won't be surprised if he gets sacked soon because he has arguments with the owner.
Yeah, I feel like he comes out, criticizes the board like every couple weeks for not
Yeah,
spending. But yeah, they finally got him a right back though. That was like one of the deals on the over the line or on the line for the longest with Pedro Porro. But I mean, I feel like some of the signings they've made have been pretty poor as well. But they like similar to them, and I guess I don't know. United, like they never really addressed the midfield. At least United did with Casemiro.
I think the problem with Tottenham and their recruitment is it's hard for them to attract players because they haven't got Champions League. I don't think they do at least. I can't remember actually. Um, no, they do have Champions League, but um,
This season they do, yeah.
yeah, this season they do. But there's always the issue. Like I think everyone knows Tottenham for being, the bottlers. So there's obviously no player wants to play for them, really. The only attraction is that fact that they have Antonio Conte there, but even then he's known for to be like a defensive counter-attacking manager. So it's hard in terms of recruitment for them because they've never won any trophies. They don't have much history. Um, so yeah,
It's the history of the Tottenham. But yeah, I mean they have Harry Kane, but I feel like if they don't get top four this year, he might leave.
I don't know. I feel like even if Tottenham get relegated, Harry Kane will never leave Tottenham because he's just in love with the club. He should have left years ago, but he still hasn't. So you never know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, I remember it was the beginning of last season or something, or maybe 2 years ago, where he was rumored for Man City. I feel like he would have scored like amazing, like he would have done amazing there, but he just never made the move.
Yeah, I feel like he's been linked with a lot of big clubs. Obviously, I think he was linked with Man City and Man United both, but he never ended up going anywhere. But yeah, I think obviously if he went Man City, he'd probably be performing as well as Haaland has been because Man City create like so many chances, and Harry Kane is so clinical that he would finish off most of the chances. So he would have been a really good sign.
Yeah, he just couldn't bury the penalty versus France.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that'll do it for. Sorry to leave it on a sad note for you.
Sorry.
Sorry to leave it on a sad note for you for England.
Yeah. Oh, I don't really care. I've never supported England, and I never will. I don't think so. Even when he missed, I wasn't upset. I sort of expected it. Like I wasn't expecting England to win. I never have any hopes for them. Whenever I'm watching the World Cup or Euros, I always just support the teams which have players that I like or players that Chelsea players are playing for. So the whole World Cup, I wanted Argentina to win it because Messi plays for them. And I'm tired of hearing Cristiano Ronaldo fanboys saying that Ronaldo is the best in the world. So I wanted Messi to win it so that he can cement his legacy and no one can argue anymore. Yeah. And a few years ago, I remember I think it was in the 2018 World Cup. I wanted Hazard to win it. Sorry, I wanted Belgium to win it because of Hazard, and he performed so well, but he never won it.
Hey, maybe Chelsea should bring Hazard back.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe if it was around a year ago or even 2 years ago, I would have been fine. But I think it's too late now. The what's the saying? The ship has sailed. He's too old now. He's too slow. I've seen him play like recently or in the last year, and he's so slow. He doesn't offer anything. All the injuries have taken a toll on him. He he the what it the movements he makes, the changes in direction. It's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah, I think the move to Real Madrid has gone like as bad as like I feel like any transfer has ever gone.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably the worst transfer in the history of transfer because they spent like 120, 130 million and he scored like 4 goals in 4 years or 3 years, however long it's been.
And I mean, I forget the goals. Like he doesn't even play.
Yeah. I mean, the reason he doesn't play is because he doesn't perform well and he's not performing well because of his injuries and he's getting injured because of his training methods. So it's all down to him basically. But now it's too late to turn it around. Even if he does start working hard, I think he's too old now.
Yeah, he's probably more likely to play in the Middle East than for a top five league team. Maybe
Yeah,
next season or
definitely.
something.
Yeah, or maybe like France, like a mid-table team in France.
Or he should just retire. Maybe do the Gareth Bale. Like Gareth Bale's not that old, right? But he just wanted to retire.
Yeah, I think yeah, Gareth Bale is the same age as Hazard, I think, or maybe 1 or 2 years older. But I think Gareth Bale just got tired of football, so maybe Hazard will too when he realizes that he's not as good as he used to be.
Yeah, maybe he should start playing golf.
Yeah,
Apparently Bale is really good. Like he's already in one of the tournaments.
really,
Yeah.
that would be interesting to see a professional footballer turn into a professional golf player.
All right, we can end it there. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully Chelsea get get like knocked out by Dortmund and the season is in shambles. All
Hopefully,
right.
Man City win the league.
Dang, why'd you say that? All right, see ya.
Take care.